Okay, hey everybody. So I'm playing around with these angles so I could be hands-free and get you guys some videos. So shout out to my friend who got me this phone holder thing, whatever you call it. So for this video, I wanted to talk about why, or not necessarily why, but how to be enough. So if you're struggling to feel enough within yourself or based on whatever is going on, it's not because something's wrong with where you are. You have to understand that maybe right now your definition of being enough is working against you, because if you only feel like you're going to be enough when you have the life that you want, or you're experiencing the things that you want to experience, then obviously being where you are in an unwanted situation, technically you're not enough. So it's just understanding that being enough has nothing to do with your circumstances. It has nothing to do with even the decisions you've made or the feelings you've been feeling. None of that stuff is a factor in you being enough. So that right there drops a lot of the weight and the judgment off your shoulders, because those were never things that were meant to qualify you for being enough. So I guess, so that's probably the first part of understanding how to be enough, is that you already are enough. Like, there was never anything that made you unworthy or for whatever reason, disqualify you from that. So that comes with knowing who you are. So if your identity is based in situations, unwanted situations that you've been going through, then of course you're going to feel like you're not enough. But then it's not even that it's of course, because there are people who are going through similar situations and they don't react the same way. They don't let it affect them or, break their character. So it's really an individual perspective that causes people to react to things in a certain way, or try to determine things or give meaning to things based on their mindset. So that's the biggest thing, is having the self-awareness to realize that, well, if you want to be enough, it's a decision, it's a choice. So it doesn't have anything to do with what you've been through, what you're going through. So that way you can have that stability of knowing that I am enough because I exist. I am enough because that's just my nature. That's just who I am. Like, I was born enough. It was never anything that I needed to do. That means in the future you don't even have to accomplish things to be enough. So if you never did anything else with your life, and for whatever reason you stayed where you are, you're still enough. So it's like there isn't anything that you have to do at the end of your life. Okay, I did this, so now I was finally enough. No, you could take that pressure off. But it's okay to have goals and aspirations, but it's not a requirement. Like, there are no requirements to being enough. So it's really up to you to drop all of that need to feel that enoughness from external things, meaning people, even from yourself, because obviously you have these qualifications you feel like you haven't been meeting that have been causing you to feel like you're not enough. So it's a lot of self-reflection and willingness to say, okay, well, I know this has nothing to do with it. So you kind of have to encourage yourself and just practice the feeling of being enough. Like, especially now that you know you don't have to do anything in order to be that should give you some relief. And that feeling of relief and peace is kind of what enoughness feels like. It's that feeling of deservingness, feeling like I can just be myself. Like, no matter how you express that, even if you lash out and react, you're still enough. No matter what you do, you're still enough. So I would just say, just realize that no matter what you've done, no matter who you've been, no matter what you do in the future, you're always enough. And then be able to just look at situations and react to things from that mental state. So knowing that I'm enough, I don't have to worry or have fear about this. Knowing that I'm enough, I can trust that anything that I want to do, I can do, even if it feels like it's not unfolding in the way that I could have imagined. It could still work out in my favor, and it will, as long as you don't let being enough be a qualifier before you can achieve something. Because there's a lot of people who have the things that they want and they still don't feel enough. So you can't say that it's based solely on some type of achievement, because if you're always waiting for some achievement to feel enough, you're always going to be reaching for something that you feel like you can never have. And that's the trap. When you don't feel enough, that's how we keep ourselves stuck in that mentality. That's part of the way that it keeps itself alive. That insecurity has to feed on making you believe that you can't see things in any other way, because that's kind of like the death of that part of you that is always wanting to, put itself down or be judgmental or critical or whatever it is. So it's self-reinforcing. In the same way, when you start to feel enough, that will reinforce itself as well. But you have to continue to choose to be enough no matter what is happening. So when you know that being enough is something that's unconditional, which you hear me talk about a lot, it gives you the freedom to say, I can feel whatever I want to feel whenever I feel. So being enough is just something that becomes a natural part of you. It's always been a natural part of you, but it's really for you to place your attention and awareness on it, and nobody can do that for you. So I think that's a good place where I can end this video. How to be enough, you just put your awareness on the fact that you already are enough. Put your attention on feeling enough. So if there's ever been anything you've experienced that captured that feeling, or you could just say, why am I enough? It's not even that it has to be a feeling that you have to achieve and then sustain and hold on to. It's more of just a knowing, like just a conviction, like I know I'm enough. Like the air that I breathe, as easily as I do that, the same way I'm enough, So hopefully that makes sense. But leave feedback in the comments, any questions or anything else you'd like me to reflect on in terms of feeling enough, because that's kind of how I did it. I've had this feeling of not being enough for so long, and I was getting fed up with it, and now I realized that I had a definition of being enough that meant I had to achieve certain things, and because I wasn't achieving those things, I never felt like I could hold on to it. So it's really just realizing it was never something that needed to be based off a condition or whoever I was being. Like I didn't need to change anything about myself to be enough, which also helped me to see I'm enough for other people too. It's only because I didn't see myself as enough that I wouldn't allow myself to connect to people in the way that I would have liked. So people will just reflect your not enoughness back to you. So it has nothing to do with anyone outside of you. It has everything to do with how you see yourself. So now I'm going to conclude the video, and I'll see y'all in the next one.